Support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum. Located in Jennings City Hall, the museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. Additional support for the Louisiana Veterans Coming Home Project provided by Entergy. Active duty, reservist, and military veterans make up nearly 10% of Entergy's Louisiana workforce. Entergy values the dedication, discipline, and skills of these brave men and women. Entergy and veterans, together we power life. And by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you.
It's a lot better than what I expected. They worked very rapidly. The crew that came in with core, they were so compassionate. It brought tears to my eyes.
These tears aren't from rising destructive water. They're from the program that is bringing her back home. Hi everyone, I'm Andre Morrow. In a moment, more on the Restore program and many other programs helping people statewide as we approach 1 year since the devastating 2016 floods. But right now, on the state we're in, a check on the week's headlines. It's called Flambeau Fest, and it's a new country music festival coming to Gonzales and the Lamar Dixon Expo Center this fall. Organizers hope to lure music lovers who used to come to Baton Rouge for Bayou Country Superfest. More than 25 country and classic rock artists will perform across multiple stages on October 7th and 8th. Environmental groups say it's a huge victory. A new state law now in effect designed to make it easier to study potential cancer clusters around industrial sites. House Bill 483 will allow the State Tumor Registry, which keeps cancer statistics for the state, to release data at the census tract level, or smaller permanent subdivisions within a parish. An unwanted record in the Gulf of Mexico. This year's dead zone, the area with too little oxygen to support marine life, is the biggest ever measured. Scientists say it's about the size of the state of New Jersey. NOAA released the findings this week. 3 Louisiana elementary schools have been selected to receive a Don't Quit Fitness Center. Park Elementary in Baton Rouge, Luling Elementary, and Valverde Elementary in Maringouin will be awarded a new fitness center from the National Foundation for the Governor's Fitness Council. It will put them on a path to good health. Here we are, almost 1 year removed from last year's epic floods, and for many, life is coming back into focus. But for many others, the struggle goes on about how to recover. We took a media tour of the home of a Baton Rouge woman along with Governor and Mrs. Edwards this week. The finishing touches are being done right now on her home thanks to the Restore Assistance Program. This is the $1.3 billion in federal money that more than 37,000 people are benefiting from and that thousands more are eligible for if they simply fill out a form.
I got up and went to look out the front door and I saw water. I said, that's something different I had never seen. And then the water started coming from all sides.
That's how the past year began for Lily Gum. Water, unlike any she's ever seen, pouring into the ranch-style house in Park Forest she's called home for about 5 years.
They cut the sheetrock off below a certain level.
She invited Governor John Bell Edwards and First Lady Donna Edwards to come take a look at just how far she's come thanks to the Restore Louisiana program. The home rebuilding effort is funded with $1.3 billion from the federal government. The money is not alone. The work is now about 90% complete, and Gum should be in her home in about a week. She's one of the first homeowners to rebuild through Restore Louisiana.
She called in and did the survey the very first day
wow.
they were available.
Good for you.
I'm very grateful that it was available. And that's another word I learned, appreciation, to be thankful that we had a program, not just on the federal level, but I remember Governor Edwards, he was very quick, speedy to get in touch with Washington to get those funds for us. He and all of his cabinets, they just poured their heart into wanting to do something right away, to hurry up and get something done, to get us back together.
Gum is mostly all smiles now, but many times during the past 12 months, she wondered how she'd recover. When the state-federal partnership rolled out the program 3 months ago, she didn't hesitate a second to get on the phone and take care of all the forms. She says it took her about 10 or 15 minutes to fill out the survey.
It has been a very depressing, frustrating ordeal that we've all gone through. And I really do appreciate the Restore program. It's a lot better than what I expected. They work very rapidly. The crew that came in with CORE, they were so compassionate. It brought tears to my eyes.
Gum found that the people helping listened to her. They were sympathetic to her plight and helped her every step of the way. She says they cared.
They were very sensitive and very self-sacrificing. We had people coming from everywhere to help us, and they went out of their way to make sure everything was running smoothly for little me, and I really do appreciate it.
Waking up and finding herself surrounded by water was shocking enough for Gum, and in the days and months that followed, she often wondered how she'd get through. After all, it wasn't part of her life plan. She had retired after a career on the road driving a truck. It was time to relax, to breathe, to go fishing.
It has taught me how to be patient, because one thing you do need is patience. There were a lot of people impacted by the flooding, not just with what happened last year, but other instances too. And you have to be patient and wait your turn. And it might seem like it's taken forever, but it didn't take forever. And I mean, just in about 3 weeks, my house has been completely turned around. And the whole process took about 3 months from start to finish.
Gum says the trauma she experienced turned out to be a life lesson, and she has grown from it.
I have learned patience, and I have learned humility, because I'm no better than anyone else who has ever gone through any disaster of any sort. And I'm certainly no better than the ones who have come to work. And so all I ask to others who are following me, waiting for their rebuild, is to be patient with them and respect them and honor them, because they've gone out of their way and they work very hard to get us back to normal.
With her attitude and acceptance, she could find herself helping others. Perhaps a book is in her future, or a career as a motivational speaker.
Here in my neighborhood, we used to speak and wave at each other, maybe getting mail, but it brought us closer together as a neighborhood and as a community. We're in this together, and we're going to always be like that. And that's one thing Governor Edwards has always tried to stress. We are people together for the state of Louisiana, for the city of Baton Rouge.
We're up to 36,500 people have completed it so far, but we know that there are 16 or 17,000 families across Louisiana who are eligible for the program right now and have not completed the survey. So it's critical, whether you think you're eligible or not, to go finish the survey and just see.
Now, Lily Gum continues to live in a FEMA trailer and is thankful for that, she says, but is counting down the days to be home, and it's just going to be a few days from now. And to the tens of thousands who are eligible, Governor Edwards says, take the survey, fill it out, you will be glad you did. Now, she certainly has an attitude that is amazing and has dealt with this trauma like so many people could learn from, the way she's dealt with. Something like this can trigger so many problems. Joining me now is psychotherapist Leslie Todd. And Leslie, thank you first for being with us. I'd love to talk to you. You have so much insight, and this is one area where you have an unbelievable amount of insight because you have counseled so many.
I've counseled so many, and I am working with people in my own office who've been through it. We were fortunate. But when the flood actually happened, I went up to North Baton Rouge, plucking people out of what I will call Lake Choctaw.
Wow.
And then brought people home. And interestingly, the people I brought home had 6 dogs with them, which is one of the things we know about the flood, is that people wanted to rescue their pets as well.
So you were a rescuer.
I jumped right in.
Wow.
Literally jumped
amazing.
right in.
Yeah, of course you did.
And then our office manager just got back into her home this week, which I think is really kind of significant because most people really are just getting back in their homes right now.
Yeah, and that's a year. So it's a year of anxiety, of trying to cope, of uncertainty. How do you counsel? What do you tell people? I know you listen, but what do you tell them?
Well, yeah, I do a lot of directive counseling. The first thing is, the very first thing that happens is the trauma itself, and in this case we're talking about a flood. But we know that what really gets people is the post-event, okay? So it's what we call aftermath trauma. Everybody was all excited to be alive and helping people, and so all their adrenaline was up, and it was, you know, survival mode, so people did okay with that.
Right.
But then everything else happens, and part of it is construction and contractors, and, you know, first of all, pulling the wood off their house, you know, the drywall. Remember that stage?
Yeah, all the belongings.
All
in
the
your
belongings,
house.
and the grief of all that, and
it's
seeing
called
what you lost.
debris. Suddenly,
Yeah.
all of your valuables are suddenly debris.
Right,
you know.
exactly. And beginning to realize what you have lost. And then where do you put your children in school? You know, if you're elderly, do you even want to rebuild? So the aftermath part is really the hard part, and of course that's what we've been seeing for the last 11 months after the month of the flood.
Right, and part of that is, where am I going to live? People are on people's sofas, on family, in a few hotels for a little while, eventually in trailers that they can get, but it scatters people, and they become nomadic almost, but they're in their own town.
Well, and because I do a lot of work with divorced people, one of the things I knew right away was, if you have a high conflict divorce, and one of those people lost their home, you can bet that there's going to be custody issues about whether the children can be with that parent while they're rebuilding or relocating or whatever. So there's a lot of legal things that happen with it too.
So in a nutshell, what can people at this point, if they've survived to this point, what can they do and keep in mind as they use every skill they can to move forward?
Well, to be resilient, and of course by this point they are resilient, they've made it through the worst. But it's these last phases of the FEMA money, or, you know, filling out the forms and not giving up yet, just stay in the course, stay in the course. It takes taking good care of your health, first of all. One of the very first things I ask people is, how's your nutrition? You know, are you feeding yourself? Are you still eating fast
my what?
foods? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But if you don't take care of this thing, you can't do anything with this, right?
Yeah.
So the first is self-care. And I will say also, if you exercise for an hour a day, that is only 4% of your day, Andre. You can do that, right?
Yeah,
everybody can find 4%.
I think so, yeah.
And it makes a difference, because then you're operating out of a better system, right? Okay. Having the support of friends, having the support of loved ones, having the support of a church community or any other community that's important, your spiritual beliefs, whatever you're holding on to. The lady that you showed earlier had a very positive spirit.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there are people who started off with depression. In other words, the things that haunted them before the flood were going to complicate matters for them. So people who already have anxiety or depression really need to be following through with health care. And another thing I'll say is money. People need an emergency fund.
Yeah.
And people who are living paycheck to paycheck, like so many Americans do, who don't have any kind of money set aside, we're in a horrible jam.
It teaches you a lot of things that you must do and
Right.
Have to be resilient, as you mentioned. Leslie,
Right.
thank you so much for being with us. We
My
appreciate your
pleasure.
time and your expertise.
Take care.
And thanks for all you've done. My goodness,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Again, I want to tell you that if you qualify for the help in home rebuilding, make sure you contact the restore.la.gov website. You see it right there on your screen. Remember, there are 17,000 people who do qualify for this right now who are not aware that they do because they simply haven't made the calls. Well, the floods of 2016 ruined an estimated $68 million in rice crops. So Louisiana farmers have been anxious to have a better 2017. Kelly Spires sat down with a research scientist to get the lowdown, and after a year that began with promise, well, it has not ended or continued with the bounce that they hoped would happen. Kelly?
That's right, Andre, and the season started out looking up. If you remember back in April, we reported that this February was the warmest on record. That's great for rice. But the rest of the season wasn't so pretty for everyone. If you live in most of South Louisiana, you know how difficult it's been to get out and mow your lawn between rainstorms this past month. Well, imagine if your lawn were a field of rice you were trying to harvest.
It's like mowing grass.
It's like mowing grass.
Rice isn't grass. So I think that's pretty accurate. When it's muddy and you cut ruts, of course, you don't have any ratoon coming back from those tracks.
Ratoon is a second round of rice crop.
And so we've probably cut about half rutted this year because of wet July, and about half of it we've cut dry.
Micah Lower is a rice farmer from Mewata, Louisiana. It's harvest day, and he's in a rush to get all of the work done.
Right now we're cutting it dry. It's a little green, but we're not stopping because the ground's dry, and that second crop is very important for us. It's almost used to be a bonus crop, and now it's a vital part of our budgeting activities.
Dustin Harrell is a scientist at LSU Ag Center's Rice Research Station in Crowley. He says rice counts swing widely from field to field this year. That means fields haven't been uniformly well-performing or uniformly bad off.
We've actually probably about 25% through with harvest at this point in time. And the yields thus far here in southwest Louisiana have been very variable. We actually have some fields that have done very good, and then you may go to an adjacent field and its yields are very poor.
That's because the crop could have gotten thrown off track at several points in the season. Remember the warm winter this year? That meant farmers could get their rice in the ground earlier than ever.
You know, our typical window is early March. So we had some rice planted on February 14th. Conditions early were very good. It was warm, it was dry, and the rice shot out of the ground and started growing very well.
That's when farmers want to get herbicides and fertilizers out too, when the ground is dry.
About the time we get to mid-season, the conditions start to change. Last part of April, last day of April, and the first couple days of May, we started to get a lot of rainfall in a couple-day period of time.
This caused flash flooding, up to 10 inches in some places, and that much rain can be bad for rice.
If that water stays on top of rice, it's going to kill some of that rice if it stays on there for an extended period of time. If it doesn't kill it, there is going to be some yield loss associated with that. We estimated that from those flood events that we probably lost about 4,000 acres of rice at that time.
That's about 1% of Louisiana's total rice crop, but for individual farmers, that could have had a big impact. For example, that rain caught some of Lower's crop.
We had an incredibly wet spring. I planted this, and then 2 days later I got 7 inches of rain, and we just couldn't get the water off fast enough. Once you plant rice, it needs a little air to breathe.
Lower fared much better in beating out the second threat to his crops, a fungus called sheath blight.
The other big thing is disease pressure. Disease pressure is going to have an effect on our yields. Warm, rainy, cloudy conditions are conductive of one of our top two diseases, which is sheath blight.
Lower sprayed at just the right time.
And it came earlier than I've ever seen it. Usually when I went out at the time I went to scout the fields, I wouldn't be anticipating spraying, but as soon as I looked at it, it was just past. I didn't even have a panicle in the boot, and we were spraying already for sheath blight.
Harrell says another patch of rainy days in June threatened rice while it was flowering.
What happens when the rice flowers is that hull will open up, and then the flower parts will come out and the pollen will shed. Now, what will happen is if we have heavy rainfall or wind during the time when that grain is open and is flowering, the heavy rains can actually wash away that pollen. And this could cause a lot of sterility in the grains.
There was yet another batch of showers in mid-July when farmers typically start to harvest. That's when the grains that contain rice have reached maturity. It's not too fresh and green and not too dry.
So that's 16 days that we weren't able to harvest. So what that causes is now you have grain that's in the field that's ready to be harvested at optimum grain moisture content, but because of the rains, you can't get in there in time, and now the moisture is dropped in that grain, which reduces quality in millings.
That brings us to today. It's dry for Lower, but not for Charles Brickhouse, who farms farther west in Jefferson, Davis, and Allen parishes.
Rice, soybeans, crawfish, do a little bit of everything to try to make it. It's not cutting weather. We really don't have any sunshine to dry, no breeze in the morning. Like today, we really didn't get any rain, measurable rain. It's just a light sprinkle, and that's a wasted day. You can't harvest with moisture like that.
That's been the season in the southern part of the state. Rice farmers up north have fared much better, Harrell says.
That rice crop actually looks very good. They've had conditions that have been a lot better than we've had here in the southwest part of the state. And I haven't heard of any yields. They haven't got started with their harvest yet. Probably in a couple weeks they'll take off.
Back south,
You never know when the weather's going to turn on you, when you'd have a front come in and put a lot of rain on you, or there's always the hurricanes coming down the road. When it's time to cut rice, we need to cut rice.
so that's what Lower's doing, and they've got a lot on the agenda.
This whole field going, we're at the bottom, and everything behind us is 115 acres, and we'll cut that today.
That is, if nothing breaks down. For farmers who did lose rice last year, there's a flood recovery program through the State Department of Agriculture. Losses have to be greater than $10,000 and other crops are eligible. You can find details at ldaf.la.gov. Back to you, Andre.
Kelly, thanks for that information. Very important stuff. You know, the floods substantially damaged nearly half of all the homes in Denham Springs. That's according to FEMA. Among those was the trailer where Vietnam-era veteran John Johnson lived with his wife. Senior producer Kevin Gautreaux worked on this story for us, gives us an update on the Johnsons and how a North Louisiana Veteran Service Organization has come to their rescue. In December, 5 months after the South Louisiana floods, John and Peggy Johnson were living in a utility shed in Denham Springs.
The bed's right there, so we just lay it down here, and this is where we stay at night.
Today, the retired veteran and his wife have a new trailer and a soon-to-be new deck and wheelchair ramp.
I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I'm glad they're here. I love every one of them.
The supplies are courtesy of Home Depot and Shield of Faith missions. The volunteer labor is from the Cajun Army, the local Rotary Club, and a veteran service organization from North Louisiana.
We have vets all over Northeast Louisiana here today. We have Bastrop, we have Monroe, West Monroe, Calhoun, and Beekman, so just south of Crossett.
Andrew Yarbrough is a post-9/11 Army veteran who served in Afghanistan. The Monroe resident is also the founder of Our Home.
Our Home's a nonprofit organization that helps veterans and their families. Our mission statement includes our actual name, which is an acronym for Honor, Opportunity, Mindset, and Encouragement. So our mission statement is to honor veterans and their families, to create endless opportunities for them, to change mindsets everywhere, and to encourage them to live the lifestyle that they serve to protect.
While Johnson put himself into debt to buy his new trailer, Our Home was able to identify resources to ease his financial burden.
Now currently he's on Social Security disability. You know there's not a lot of money there. So by getting him on the wartime pension, we were able to triple their income, which is going to help them not only keep their home, but put a little bit more value into it, put some more money in the bank, be able to live life.
Our Home takes a holistic approach to assisting veterans, drawing from both veteran and non-veteran agencies. Yarbrough discovered untapped resources when he was dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder.
Later on, as I worked through those issues, I found a lot of other soldiers who had the same issues. They didn't know what benefits were out there. They didn't know what avenues they could find support. They were lost. So I established Our Home to fill in the gaps, to give vets an avenue to be able to find a community of support and people who loved and wanted to be around them.
Hakeem Jackson served with the Army National Guard in Afghanistan. Our Home helped raise him up from a low point after he returned from overseas.
PTSD brought me to the point where I had no home. You know, I mean, I got on drugs, everything. But you know, now I mean, I'm clean, and I mean, I have something, a purpose to wake up every morning and something to look forward to, and that makes me feel a lot better. It brings purpose to the 9/11 veterans' lives, brings purpose to my life, and gives people hope, man. It's a great thing.
Chris Simons served in Iraq and made the 4-hour trip from West Monroe to originally work on a ramp for Mr. Johnson's trailer.
He just wanted a ramp, but we thought while we were here we'd make him a nice deck to come outside with.
The team approached the task like a mission, dividing duties into 3 units: deck building, ramp construction, and cleanup. Simons says Our Home allows veterans to take positive action for other veterans.
It's people helping like people, veterans helping veterans, ex-military helping ex-military. We find someone who needs help and we come down here and we help them.
Currently, less than 1% of the U.S. population is active military. Simons says this situation often creates a disconnect between civilians and soldiers who served post 9/11.
We were all proud to do it, but it took a lot out of you. Families had to sacrifice. Everyone had to sacrifice for so long. Even World War II was only 4 years long. Post 9/11 was a decade plus. So that's a long time to be at war. And these soldiers volunteered, every one of them. No one was drafted. And people need to understand that that's a big sacrifice.
Yarbrough says civilians also need to understand that despite the increased spotlight on veteran PTSD, post 9/11 veterans aren't much different than their civilian counterparts.
So a lot of people believe that we're damaged goods, we're not viable candidates for high management positions, high functioning positions, but I beg to differ in the fact that veterans are forged by fire. They're some of the best leaders in our nation.
That leadership was on display throughout a day of steady rain. The volunteers had the wheelchair ramp and deck complete long before sundown, an accomplishment that gives Yarbrough both a sense of purpose and peace.
It's immeasurable the amount of benefit that I get spiritually from this kind of work, and I encourage all to take a part of it, give it a shot, and give back to your community.
For more information on the Our Home Veteran Service Organization, visit ourhome.vet. This story is part of LPB's Louisiana Veterans Coming Home coverage, produced with support from Entergy. Visit veterans.lpb for more stories. Well, that is our show for this week. Remember, you can watch LPB on demand on your phone or tablet with our LPB Anywhere app. You can download the app. It's free from your app store, and catch LPB news and public affairs shows, as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please like us on Facebook as well. For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Andre Morrow. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, that's the state we're in.
Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and visit lpb.org, where you can view more stories and leave us a comment. This program is available on DVD. Support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum. Located in Jennings City Hall, the museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. Additional support for the Louisiana Veterans Coming Home project provided by Entergy. Active duty, reservist, and military veterans make up nearly 10% of Entergy's Louisiana workforce. Entergy values the dedication, discipline, and skills of these brave men and women. Entergy and veterans, together we power life. And by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you.